Are Harley Davidson prices going down? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And go check out the RevelatorAlf podcast on Spotify as well. So, this video is dedicated to Harley Davidson and their prices for 2024. Are they coming down? So, here's what's been happening. Now, there have been reports recently that the models for 2024, those that have not yet been released, those that will be revealed this coming week on January 24th for their product launch for Harley Davidson, the Tourer lineup, those motorcycles are going to be reduced in price. So I wanted to do a little bit of digging to see, well, what is going on with the prices overall. Now, I've got to make this distinction between the American prices or Canadian prices or any other country's prices and those that are happening to UK. So I'm only going to talk about UK prices. So you're going to have to look at your own country's prices and see where you're at. Now, we know that Harley Davidson gets a bit of a bashing, just like a lot of other automotive manufacturers, for their prices, right? Especially the ones that are producing bikes, in Harley Davidson's case, at a higher price, right? So they always get a bashing. And some would say it's fair game, and others would say, well, it's a little bit too critical. So I get that. So this is not really a criticism of Harley Davidson. It's more like a statement of facts, okay? They do sell some of their bikes are really, really expensive. Some of them are expensive, but not so expensive. But certainly you could say they're a lot more expensive than other motorcycle manufacturers that are producing similar kinds of motorcycles. Not necessarily their direct competitors, but you could say there are cheaper alternatives out there. So we know that. That's not news. But the question is, will they be producing motorcycles in 2024 that are a lot more expensive than they were in 2023? Okay, I've done a bit of digging. So let's just say in the United States, the Nightster and the Nightster Special have actually come down in price. Well, actually here in the UK, they've gone up in price. The Nightster has gone up at 2.7% and the Nightster Special has gone up at 3.57%. So all I would say is, whilst there are price rises, they'd still be in line with inflation for me. So they're not exorbitant price rises. They are kind of what I would expect in all fairness. Whilst I don't agree with it, whilst I would say they are too expensive for what they are, and all those other kind of negatives, I would say actually as a positive, it's kind of in line with inflation, right? In fact, you could argue that they're lower than many inflation levels around the world, right? Okay, so that's the Nightsters. The Sportster S also gets a 2.29 increase in price as well. So again, in line with inflation or even just below inflation. It's not the price reduction or the price freeze that I would like, but again, you know, it's to be expected, I would say. Now, I'm not going to go through all the motorcycles that Harley Davidson have already released for 2024 and compare those prices to 2023. Well, I've done that, but I'm not going to tell you that. They all operate in the 1.5 to 3%-ish price increase. Okay, so that's where we're at. However, there are some notable exceptions, and this is where we've got to start thinking about these new prices that might be coming out for the 2024 launch models. Will they come down in price? Okay, so every motorcycle has got this 1.5 to 3% increase, apart from the Sport Glide. The Sport Glide has got a reduction of 2.23%. Woohoo! That's great, right? I'm not exactly sure why. It seems like it's a bit of an oddity here. But there we go. That is the motorcycle that has got a price reduction. Now, I'm talking about the UK prices here alone, okay? So it's just for the Sport Glide. For UK prices, that's the only Harley Davidson that has got the price reduction. The Fat Boy with the 114 engine is basically exactly the same price. There's no price increase or decrease. It's exactly the same. And guess what? The other motorcycle that has got no price increase at all or no price reduction is the Road King Special. Those are the only two motorcycles that have had no price change, and the Sport Glide is the only one with a price reduction. Now, the motorcycles that have had the highest price increase, as it were, are the Nightster Special with a 3.57%. The Lowrider ST has gone up at 2.89%. The Breakout 117 is up at 2.48%. And the Tri-Glide Ultra is up at 2.06%. Now, the Tri-Glide Ultra is coming in at £39,595. So that's a hefty price tag there. Now, you could say that these percentage changes don't really mean a lot to the likes of you and I. It's more about actually how much extra the price is, right? That's what you're really interested in. And most kind of operate in the 350 pound price increase. That's where most of them are. The Nightster Special has gone up £500. The Lowrider ST has gone up £600, as has the Breakout 117. That's also gone up at £600. And the Tri-Glide Ultra, that's the one that has gone up the most. That's at £800. So let's just take all that into context and talk about these new bikes that are coming out in 2024. And essentially, we're talking about the Grand Tourers, right? We're talking about the CVOs, which we in the UK don't have the prices for 2024. So we're talking about the CVOs, we're talking about the Road Glide, the Street Glide, and of course the ST models as well. Now, obviously, there could be substantial changes within those models, whether it's fairing, whether it's engine upgrades. We just don't know at this stage. There's lots of rumours, of course, and you can watch my previous videos about that. But if we're just talking about those motorcycles, will they get a price reduction? So I suppose you've got to look at the motorcycles that have already been released. And notably, the Road King Special, which has had a 0 price increase, and the Road Glide Limited, the Ultra Limited, and I suppose you could include the Trikes in here as well. They've all had price increases. So it will kind of make sense that you're going to have a price increase, or at best a price freeze, on the models on these touring models. But will it be a price reduction? I really can't see it. I really can't see there being a price reduction on those models that have also had upgrades, because this is basically what we're talking about. We're talking about those models that have been listed that are getting new fairings or engine upgrades, whether they're going for 117 options, whether they're going for variable valve timing options. They're not really going to produce those bikes for less money. I'd be very, very surprised if they're less money. Now, could we hope for at least a freeze on the prices? Well, again, I think that's highly unlikely. But it could happen. Granted, it could happen. I suppose what is most likely that there will be a price increase, but that price increase will be in line with all the other price increases, which will be below the inflation level. So they're introducing new motorcycles, new technologies, new variants, I suppose, the best way to describe it. They're not going over the top on the price increases. So this will be a lot easier to stomach for a lot of people. In fact, you could argue that if they just increase the prices a couple of £100, dollars, shekels, whatever it is, that's not really going to put off prospective new buyers for 2024 models. The argument would be, well, why would you go and buy a 2024 bike when you can get a 2023 bike for less money, let's say, especially, as I've said before, you know, a nearly new bike or a used bike that's, let's say, got 1,000 miles on it. Why would you spend that money on a 2024 bike? However, if the price difference between a 2024 bike and a 2023 bike, brand new, 0 miles on the clock, is only £200 or £300, $300 or $400, let's say, then you kind of think, well, yeah, I can see where lots of people would go for it. So the point of this video really is to look at the data, look at what's been happening, and really just to, I suppose, push back on those who would say, well, yeah, we're getting price decreases here. If we are, I think it's really welcome, of course. Of course you're going to welcome that. Of course you are. Is it realistic? I'm not so sure. I would be very, very surprised if we're going to get price reductions. Now, I've got to say this is for the UK prices, and I have been saying the whole time, I'm talking about UK prices here, and I suppose by extension European prices and global prices, okay? Because the United States prices are always cheaper. So you have a different price point and a different marketing and pricing strategy than goes on the rest of the world. So let's say the Nightster and the Nightster Special have come down in price in the United States, whereas here in the UK, and I haven't checked other parts of the world and Europe, but let us know in the comments below if you have, they've actually gone up a little bit. Still only 2 or 3%, but you know, it has gone up. Whereas in the United States, it's gone down. So could it follow suit in the United States? The prices for the new Tourers will be 0% increase, or there will be a slight reduction, let's say 1 or 2%. Or will they increase in line with inflation with the rest of the price rises here at 2 or 3%? I've got a feeling it's going to be a 2 or 3% increase. I wouldn't hold my breath for a price reduction. But listen, hey, I could be completely wrong here. At this stage, I'm just looking at prices and comparing and contrasting and seeing where the most movement is likely to be. What I find really interesting was that there's no price increase for the Fat Boy or the Road King Special. And the Sport Glide actually came down in price. Now, I don't know if that's got anything to do with them not being able to sell the Sport Glide enough. They want to get rid of stock, so they just want offering it at a slightly cheaper price. I really don't know. But it's interesting that one motorcycle that I own that I've been raving about for years and years has got a slight price reduction. And it could be that they found that 2023 prices were slightly higher than they needed to be. And the 2024 price, if they added that 1.5%, 2.5%, 3% increase like all the other motorcycles, it would be too expensive for what it is. Maybe. I have no idea on that in that regard. So there you go. That's all the price increases for the existing models for 2024. Could we expect a price reduction or price freeze for the model variants that are to be announced on January 24th this week? Wishful thinking, I would say, wishful thinking. But hey, that can only be positive, right? If something does happen, if they prove me wrong and reduce the prices, that can only be a positive. You know, at best, I think a price freeze, but a marginal price increase, I would say, is most likely. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know where you're from in the world. If you've noticed what the price increases are for the existing models where you are, 2024 bikes versus 2023 bikes. Have there been any price reductions in your country where you're riding? And what are you expecting for the prices for 2024 bikes to be announced this week? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.